So surprise, surprise, we're going to discuss a few of the halachas of Purim. Instead of beating a dead horse, there's a lot of halachas that many of us are probably quite familiar with, and we've been doing for our whole lives. And so we won't dwell on those. We'll dwell on maybe a few of the bigger inyanim, the bigger sugyas that need a little bit of explanation, and maybe we'll just go over a quick overview of the things that we've already known, just to make sure that we don't forget anything. First things first, we know that everyone is chayiv to listen to the Megillah, right? Hakol chayiv l'ikros Megillah, men and women. There's a mitzvah to teach the children who have gotten to an age of chinuch, right? Obviously, to bring children who are less than the age of chinuch is counterproductive, as then no one will be able to fulfill their obligation of the Megillah. And the question is, and this is a very big question amongst the Rishonim, what is the obligation of women? Is the obligation of women like men? Is the obligation of women not like slightly less than that? And the question starts as follows. The Gemara tells us that Af Heim Hayu also Anes. They also were included in the Nes. Obviously, the whole redemption happened through Esther. And even though Purim would technically be a time-bound mitzvah, it only happens once a year. It's only for one day, and that's it. And it should have all the limitations of a time-bound mitzvah, which would render a woman exempt. Over here on Purim, since they were an integral part of the mitzvah, so they are also obligated. Now, many Rishonim hold that they're obligated just as men are obligated, and therefore, we know that whoever is obligated in a certain mitzvah is able to be motzi someone else, like by Kiddush on Friday night, and other mitzvahs that when people have an equal level obligation, in other words, either a Torah obligation or a rabbinic obligation, one is able to be motzi the other one. That is the opinion of many of the Rishonim. However, the Bala Iter understands that there's a fundamental difference, and that is that since it needs to be read in public, the same way a woman is not allowed to read in public by Kriyas HaTorah, right, because of Kavod HaTzibur, therefore a woman is not allowed to be motzi a man, and she's only able to, she's chayav to hear it, right, she's chayav to hear it, but she's not able to be motzi a man. So it's only a shmiyah. The mitzvah is only on the shmiyah.
So just clarify that. Since she's obligated, since she's not allowed to read the Torah in public,
right? She
cannot be yotzi by a man.
She can't be motzi a man. She can't.
She can't read for a man.
That's right. No, she cannot read for a man. And so you'll ask, well, about in private? So the Mishnah Berurah explains low plug Rabbanan. The Rabbanan, once they made a certain takana, there's a low plug. So according to the Baal Iter, while a woman is chayiv to hear the Megillah, she's not allowed to be motzi. And that opinion is brought down in the Yeshomim and the Shulchan Aruch. The Yeshomim shanashim einu motzias es ha'anashim. Right, they're not able to be motzi the men.
But that means the Mechaber would hold that she can't allow.
Right, like I said, it's a machlokas. Majority of the Rishonim holds that a woman and men and women have equal obligation. According to the Yeshomim brought in the Shulchan Aruch, women are not allowed to be motzi a man because, like we mentioned, they're out covered at Tzibur. And Mishnah Berurah says that one should be chosh for this opinion, so that you shouldn't do the mitzvah, according to other Rishonim.
Woman marries a Sephardic guy, and the Sephardic guy can't read the Megillah, and she can.
What's the difference between Sephardim and Ashkenazim?
Because the Yeshomim would follow by the.
Everyone is agree that you should do the mitzvah according to all opinions. And we don't want to do the mitzvah according to some, not according to others.
But why isn't Kol Isha raised?
Oh, it's a great question. Kol Isha, right, let's say a woman who is not our wife recites a bracha in general, or talks to us, right? So Kol Isha is only when there's a certain melody, a certain song. If a woman says Kiddush, so I'm allowed to answer Amen. Now, is it the most tznius thing to go to have another lady sing Kiddush for me? Probably not, but I'm not sure you could ask her it because of Kol Isha.
Isn't there a bit of a trop to
the Megillah? There is a trop, but when we see singing, we mean singing for non-Dvar Mitzvah. Right? There's also a shayla amongst the poskim. Let's say there's miras on Shabbos. Right? If there's miras, are you allowed? Some people say if she's singing along with everybody else, it's allowed. Some people hold it's still improper. But there are poskim who matter. I'm not saying that that's the halacha, but there are poskim who matter, even singing by herself for a Dvar Mitzvah. Right? Now, that's not the accepted view. We don't pass like that. But
it's interesting. It's not raised at all in the discussion.
Over here it's a good point. But we do see that for a woman to be motzi other people, though the poskim were, even though there are many Rishonim who matter, a lot of the poskim looking for ways that shouldn't be done. Now a woman to be motzi another man. Now a woman to be motzi another woman is allowed. Right? A woman can be motzi another woman. Now, there are some poskim though who hold that even that much shouldn't be done. Even that, because it could be the mitzvah of the woman altogether was just shmiyah, just the hearing. So according to the Baal Iter, she can be motzi another woman. But according to the Mordechai, another one of the Rishonim holds no. When they say afhem v'hayaboso anes, it means only for the listening aspect. So according to the Mordechai, a woman can't be motzi another woman, because her chiyuv is only listening to the Megillah and not reading the Megillah. So the poskim raised the question: well, can she even read it for herself according to that opinion? Right? What would be in that? So that's why lechatchila we always try to have a lady listen from a man, so she could have all her bases covered. If a woman can't find another man, so the Mishnah Berurah brings that she's allowed to read it for herself. And if she can't have it read for herself, she should have another woman read for her if there's no man around. Even though that's the case, the Mishnah Berurah brings in public.
I'm sorry. If there's no man around, it's better for another woman to read for a woman than a woman to read for herself.
No, she could read for herself, and if she doesn't know herself, she could have another woman read for her.
But you
out of a cloth, yeah.
Please, can you clarify that? Oh, she can't read for herself. If she can't read for herself, it's better for a woman to read. I got it. Then
that's
nothing.
Right.
So what's the issue though? I'm trying to understand.
Because we're trying to. It's not clear.
Cool.
It's not clear how far the obligation of the woman, what type of obligation the woman has vis-a-vis the Megillah. Is it just like a man, and therefore she can read it and even be motzi us, right? Or was the chiyuv only on the shmiyah, right? We say, right, so there's a whole machlokus of what the bracha of the Megillah is. Is it the Shmoa Mikra Megillah, Al Mikra Megillah? What's the Ikar Chiyuv? The reading, the listening, right? So it could be that if the lady's Chiyuv is only on the listening, so she can't read it. And reading it, right, to be to somebody else, you have to be obligated in the reading. So if her Chiyuv is only in the reading, only listening, so she can't be motzi even another lady. Right? That was the Mordechai. And then the Baal Iter Shita was, she can't be motzi men, but other ladies she would be able to be motzi. Right? So since the Rishonim grapple with what exactly the obligation of a woman is here, is again, this is technically a time-bound mitzvah, but because, and they should be patur completely, but since they were included in the nes, for afhem hayibosu nes, right, they do have some level of obligation. Is it like men? Is it just listening? Can they be motzi only ladies but not men? So that's where the Rishonim grapple, and that's why the Mishnah Berurah paskins, and most of the poskim paskin here, that they should make sure to listen and be motzi from other men, which is a general custom. Now, if there is no one around, right, the Sharatzin does bring that zila b'mosa, right, it's not proper covet or respect for a lady to motzi many women in public. Right, that's already that already doesn't feel right. Right, it's more of a problem of tznius than it is a halachic issue, and therefore a woman should refrain. Right, to have if some places have these large gatherings of ladies and having one lady be motzi all of them, right, that's not doing the mitzvah the proper way.
But what's the tznius issue? They're all women.
Right.
It's a good question. It's a good question. So we have to. It's really off the topic, but the same question with women prayer groups. Right? How come when you have just if you have 10 or 15 women, right? That's really going on camera. Not the safest thing to talk about, right? But they have to talk camera.
They recite Tehillim.
Yeah. Reciting Tehillim is fine. But whenever they try to reenact or recreate what the men do in the shul, that's when tznius issues come into a problem. Right? A few women getting together, reading Tehillim together is not an issue. But when they come to shul, we have one, we'll call her a chazanit, right? Or we have a woman who's trying to play the role of a shliach tzibur, or a rabbi, or whatever else they try to do nowadays. So that's when the tznius issue comes, where we look at it as a breach of Masorah.
When you say the setting aside the Masorah problem, which is a problem by itself, but
right.
When you say the tznius problem, if they're in front of women, is it because they're being like when you say the tznius problem, what do you
when they're reenacting how men or how tefillah was generally. In other words, tefillah generally, the way we have tefillah set up is you have men and you have Azras Nashim, you have a Shliach Tzibur who's a male, right? Only Anashim are accounted for a minyan, and we have tefillah like we know, right? But when women try to reenact that same thing, and what we'll call them prayer groups or whatever they have, so that is already a breach of the Masorah. When we say lack of tznius, that doesn't mean that woman is walking around without not dressed properly, right? But
we're saying they're acting like men.
You're right. They're trying. The zila, right? The lack of tznius here is that they're trying to reenact the way that we have in the Masorah a certain way. Right? When a lady is very, very boisterous, even though she can be cut from head to toe in a burqa, that could also be seen as a lack of tznius. She's causing attention to herself, right? That idea is lack of tznius.
So kiddush clubs for sure not a good idea for women.
A kiddush club. I hear it. It's a good question.
For men to have.
Yeah, but I'm not sure. It depends. If it's the middle of Chadas Hashatz, I don't think it's a good idea for men either to have a kiddush club.
Which would be preferable for a woman to hear from another woman from a klaf or from a man from not a klaf?
Oh, from another woman with a klaf. Without a klaf, she's not yotzi. When we say woman can read, we mean from a klaf, kedas v'kedin, just like anybody else. If she's able to do it, she can read. She doesn't have a man to motzi here. She should read for herself, or have another lady read for her. Absolutely, with the klaf, 100%. Now the question is, right? The minhag is now also that when men do read for ladies, the ladies make a bracha of themselves, right? Right? There's machlokes what the bracha is. Right? The Mishnah Berurah brings al mikra Megillah. Some people say l'shmoa Megillah. But the minhag has become al mikra Megillah, is the bracha that the women shofar also. They make the bracha for themselves, and then the man goes ahead and is moti them. Now there's another machlokas here also, and this is really off the topic of Purim, but on the topic of what we call arvus. We know that we have a halacha principle that says that afa pi sheyatza motzi. In other words, even though a man has fulfilled his obligation of doing a mitzvah, he's able to be motzi somebody else, right? Even though he's fulfilled his obligation. And now you could ask, well, we know you're only allowed to fulfill someone else's obligation if you have equal level. But if I've already fulfilled my obligation, let's say for Kiddush, right? I've done my obligation. Now I can say Kiddush again for you. Why? I don't have an obligation anymore, and you have an obligation. Why should I be allowed to do that? So that we have the idea of called arvus, right? Kol Yisrael Rebim Zelazeh. Right? The Gemara tells us in Berachos Daf Kaf, goes through a whole page, going back and forth, and we have a whole question if women are included in arvus or not. Right? Even though a woman was already yotze, can she be motzi a man? In the case where both of them have a chi of darais, let's say by Kiddush. A woman is also obligated in Kiddush. Let's say she heard it already. Or let's say a man already heard. Can he be motzi a woman? Right? Right? Are women included in arvus or not? And the majority of the poskim hold that they are. The Be'er Halacha here actually brings that it's not clear if they are, and it's a little bit of a stira, because the Shar Tziyun, right, the Mishnah Berurah himself in Hilchos Kiddush brings the machlokus and seems to say that they are part of arvus, right? And that's the minhag. Even though a man has been yotzi once, he's able to be motzi a woman again, right? Because we hold that b'atzim they are part of arvus. They are included in this halachic principle called arvus, that we can be, even though a man has been yotzi, they can be motzi a lady. That's in regards to ladies. Men and ladies, right? Men obviously are chayiv, right? A person is chayiv to hear every single letter, because if you don't hear every single letter or every single word in the Megillah, you didn't hear the Megillah, right? Very simple svara. To that effect, there were some Rishonim who held that if you are missing letters or words that were not integral to the Megillah, you're still yotzi. Now we don't paskin like that. The Truas Rash was very clear, although we don't paskin like that. But out of deference to those shitas, if one missed a word or missed a part of the Megillah that's not detrimental to what it is, the Be'er Halacha says when you read it again, which you do have to, it's preferable to do so without a bracha, just to be sure not to get into a shayla of a bracha of atala. Now, there's also another machlokus, and that is what happens when a person is not sure if he heard every single word. Now, this could happen to a lot of people. That's why it's best to have a Megillah, a kosher Megillah, l'chatchila, or even if not, you could have a regular chumash in front of you and read along. If you have a non-kosher Megillah, you shouldn't read along, but you can, whenever you missed a word, or you think you missed a word, you could always add in those words, because as long as you go up to half, that's read with the Megillah, with the kosher Megillah, right? The Shulchan Aruch passes that it's kosher, and that's why the minhag has become that people have a chumashim in front of them and they read along whatever they missed. If someone has a kosher Megillah, he's even able to read totally and completely, just to make sure, as long as he doesn't read aloud enough to ruin and wreck everything.
I didn't catch this. If you have a non-kosher klaf, you can read up to half of the Megillah?
Together with the Shliach Tzibur. Together with the Shliach Tzibur. In other words, the Shliach Tzibur will read, and you'll miss, let's say, a couple of psukim here and there. You're allowed to continue on quickly and make sure you get it in order. Now, I have to point out that reading the Megillah out of order, right, psukim, one pasuk in front of the other one, is called Korla Mafreya, and one would not be Yotze. Right? Korla Mafreya is a Mishnah, and the Shulchan Aruch paskins it la'alacha that one is not Yotze if you read it out of order. So therefore, when you do this, you have to make sure you're still going to be in order as you go along. So you have to read it quick enough to overtake the chazan a little bit, and then have the chazan, kind of.
Say it loud, you read with your eyes.
No, you have to hear yourself.
When you say a non-kosher klaf, are you talking about a sefer?
A sefer, yeah, seder, a chumash. If you do have a klaf, though, like we said, then you're able to read the entire thing all the way along, as long as you don't bother anybody else around you. Otherwise, not very nice.
Mm-hmm.
So wait a second, I have a question, because we hold that people can barely keep their concentration for Shemona Esrei. Right, which is 3-5 minutes, 10 minutes if you're doing the Kola, right? The Megillah is 30 minutes.
Okay.
There's no way if we hold that people don't hold their concentration for the Shemona Esrei, by the Megillah.
That's why they have the banging, and sort of give you a break.
To wake you up.
You can sort of pull yourself together.
So how does the poskim hold? Does it even mention?
You have to do your best. That concentration issue by Shemona Esrei is only a shayla b'diavad. In other words, do you go because of your lack of concentration? Do you have to go back and repeat Shemona Esrei again? Right? In Shemona Esrei, you're chayav to have kavanah for the entire Shemona Esrei.
Right.
If you can't, you're supposed to have for at least avos and modim. If you can't do that, at least just avos. Right. Now, if you don't have kavanah for avos, right, so then you're, according to Din the Shulchan Aruch and Din the Gemara, you have to go back and read the whole Shemona Esrei again. Nowadays you don't go back because you're not going to have kavanah a second time. Right? But that Megillah is different than
you don't have to have kavanah, you just have to hear the words.
Yeah, you just hear the words. We're not. You have to have kavanah. They can be most of the mitzvah, right? The lechatchilish, that you're fulfilling an obligation, right? Right. But
isn't there also a principle that it's chavivim to everybody?
Oh, that's another nekuda. I'm not sure if that's the reason why we're not choshes for this. But the Megillah is chavivin, right? That's why even if two people read it at the same time, right? You're still, even though we usually say trei koli lo mishtami by the Megillah, right? That does not apply.
I don't understand the question.
He said that the mitzvah of Megillah is chavivin. It's very, very dear to us. We have a lot of fun. We enjoy it. People get dressed up, and they bang their groggers and do all types of funny things. In other words, they enjoy it very much, and because they enjoy it, they tend to pay more attention.
And it's also once in a while.
Every day, that's also a svara, maybe. There's more rope by Shemona Esrei, maybe. I hear. That's a good svara.
But what would the significance of that be? So fine, but doesn't mean you're going to concentrate better.
But in which case, because you're if it's chavivin, you'll make sure, since it matters to you, you'll make sure you do it properly.
I see. So we hold it close to us.
Yeah.
And also, like you said, even if two people are reading at the same time.
Yeah, we're still yotze because a person's paying attention enough that he'll be able to differentiate. There's a shayla in the poskim whether or not a microphone is allowed to be used for Mikra Megillah.
I bet the Shulchan Aruch doesn't say that.
The Shulchan Aruch, actually, quite close. Right, the Shulchan Aruch brings a case by shofar. Right, the Gemara brings in Rosh Hashanah, if someone blows a shofar into a pit, so those who are standing outside of the pit are not yotze. Those who are standing in the pit are yotze. Why? Because those who are standing outside of the pit are only hearing the echo of the reverberations of the shofar.
Wow.
Those who are standing inside the pit hear the actual sound. Now, the poskim bring that din of Tokei L'toch Habor as a proof, right, to the microphones. And Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach in Mincha Shloma goes through a whole piece saying that he spoke to different electricians, and he held it was totally possible to use a microphone because after clarifying it with electricians, he said it's clear that it's not just raising the voice goes in, it gets regenerated, and then it sends it back out, which is what he calls kol havara. That's the kol, the echo. That's the voice of the echo, like the din of Tokei L'toch Habor. And even if you were to be, he says you can't answer amen. It's possible to answer amen to these type of brachas. He is extremely machmir with the microphone. He says anyone who says differently, it's only because they don't know how the electrics, right, the acoustics work when it comes to a microphone. Now there are some poskim who disagree with Rav Shlomo Zalman. They held that those that are nearby that would hear you anyway,
right,
would be allowed, because even the case of Tokei L'toch Habor, those who are inside of the pit are going to hear the echo, and they're going to hear the actual voice. And since they're close enough, it's all right. Right? That's the opinion of Rav Ovadia Yosef in Yechav Das, right, in Yabia Omer, and also the opinions of other poskim as well. Because of this, Moshe Feinstein goes back and forth. One tshuva seems to matter, one tshuva seems to aser. Moshe Feinstein, he goes, it's best not to use it at all, because what's the point? You're going to get yourself stuck in the shiloh, and there's no real hachra. And that's been more or less the minhag in most places, is that they don't use a microphone because of this reason. We're not sure if it's kol havar or actual just raising of the actual voice.
We can't Skype Megillah.
So that would be the same. Excellent question. That would be the same question over the phone. That would be the same kasha. Right? If someone says over a phone, Skype, I'm sure it would be the same thing. Whenever the voice is being regenerated, we call that an echo, kol havara, and not the actual voice of the person.
Megaphone. Would the megaphone be the same as a microphone, or is that?
No, that'll be fine.
No, it's the same thing.
Just
Why?
amplifies.
That just amplifies.
Right. Yeah.
But
Is that what it
it's
is?
the original. There's no recreation.
No,
That's
sure.
It's just amplifying the voice.
If that's the case, yeah.
It's echoing
Then
off
it's the
the
case.
sides. That's why it's louder, because it's echoing off the sides
Well,
as
then
well
how's
as
it
the
different than
original.
the pit?
It's the same.
It's the same. So if you
no, but you're okay in the pit.
no, but if you're right by the sides of the pit.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah. So, yeah,
Then
it'll all depend on how it works. In other words, I'm not electrician to speak to an electrician. Right?
That's the megaphone. The megaphone would be like
You have to know how the acoustics
Oh, you're saying a
work.
megaphone, electronic megaphone.
No, a regular
I was
one.
talking about a phone.
You hear a live whatever where there's a bracha,
If
then
you
you
ever
should not
talk
be able to
like
say
this,
amen then.
Yeah, I'm saying, according to Shlomo's Zalman, you don't answer amen because
Right.
he holds that you're not hearing the person's voice.
If you talk like this or you talk like this, you can hear the difference, right?
Right.
So it's a mobile pit.
A woman sings on
Right.
a microphone.
It could be.
Away, I wonder.
If that's the way it works, then it'll be a problem. If all it does is just amplify the voice, then it would be allowed, right? I'm not paskin, I don't know how it works. But you have to know, if that's the way how it works, then it would be allowed
Would
according
there
to the
still be kol isha if a woman was singing on a microphone and you're at the back of the...
That's a great question.
There's debate about it.
We'll talk about it some other time.
But probably, right? Because you can't listen, right? Most posts can hold also from tapes and video CDs. Also going to be a problem of kol isha, even though you're only hearing the reproduction of it. And the idea also is because of it causes hear-her, right? The voice is close enough that it'll still cause the same hear-her whether it's on a tape or in person, right? So hear-her, yeah, it's a big problem.
Wonder about your Lady Gaga tickets now?
You're gonna have to throw them away. Right. So now
That's the reason they call it.
there's another question also of a cherish. Right. A cherish is someone a deaf mute or a mute. Also is not able, depending on how mute he is machlokas that he can motzi other people. Right. Someone who has hearing aids or someone who can't hear properly could be his pater completely. Now we know the halacha is that a person has to be completely deaf or completely mute, or both, in order to be considered a cherish. If he can hear or he can't speak or he can't hear, right? The halacha is he's a pikeach l'chol davar, he's like anybody else. So in regards to all of his chiyuvim. Now here though, by Megillah, you have to be able to do both of them in order to, just by in practicality speaking, in order to be able to go to the mitzvah. The question is though, at what level, at what point are you considered mute or deaf? If a person can hear, but I have to just scream into his ear, and he can hear me that way, so is he considered mute in regards to Hilchos Megillah, or not? So the Mishnah Berurah learns in the sheet of the Beis Yosef that if he cannot hear himself, he cannot be motzi others. And that's also the opinion of the Tzemach Tzedek brought in the Tshuva. If he cannot hear himself, he cannot be motzi others. While others hold that's not true. To be considered a cherish, you can't be able to hear at all. If I can yell and scream next to him and he's able to hear, I remember, by the end of my grandfather's life, I remember my grandmother should be well, and my grandfather should be yelling him, and he'd be able to hear as long as she's yelling next to his ear. So as long as that much he can hear, he's not considered a cherish, and he'd be able to even be motzi other people.
So that's why my mother was yelling at my dad.
So the Mishnah Berurah, it seems like the poskim, Mishnah Berurah himself, and poskim as well, you should not lechatchila have a person like that who is totally in the machlokas be motzi the kila. If there's no one else, obviously, then better him than not be motzi, right? Not to be motzi the mitzvah altogether.
You're not yahrzeit with him. You're not yahrzeit. So what do you mean better him? What's it better?
No, because there's some poskim. No, there's some poskim hold that it's okay. So you're right. So lechatchila would be trying to be yotzi the sheet of Beis Yosef also. He has to be able to hear himself. But if you don't have anybody else to be motzi you, so according to the rest of the Rishonim, the Biur Halacha says be yotzi according to them.
And hearing aids let you be. If you have hearing aids, it's okay because you can hear.
Right.
It doesn't matter how you heard.
But then it's not the original sound that you're hearing.
So telling the same machlok as the other one.
Sounds like a microphone. It's a microphone.
Be telling the same shayla as the microphone.
So that person has to hear it from somebody screaming at him in his ear?
So, yeah, I guess so. A guy who still has the capability of listening, so he will have to have... So now the truth is, when it comes to hearing aids, I don't know how they work electronically. If when they hear a voice, does it regenerate the voice, or just allows them? It somehow goes into the ear, and it allows.
There's a microphone, an amplifier, and a speaker.
That's what hearing aid is.
Yeah. That's what a hearing aid is. There's a microphone.
I thought they had some that go in there's different ones that go into the ear itself and allow the ear.
That's a cochlear implant. That's different.
That's something else.
Although it would still not be okay. According to this, it would still not be okay. Because it's taking a signal and it's reinterpreting.
I don't want to pass on a shayla that I know is machlok Zavoski.
Actually, I think you're wrong about the last one, because the bite does the same vibration that the hair in the ears do, right?
It actually doesn't.
It does the same vibration.
It actually doesn't. It actually doesn't. It's actually a different signal. The brain learns to reinterpret it. It doesn't. It mimics. It's not doing the same thing. It's an electronic signal.
Okay.
They're electronic.
That's why. Yeah. There's a battery. Yeah. Absolutely. It doesn't work the same way.
So the minhag is. So I don't want to pass on that shayla because I know it's a big machlokas, right? There'll some say yes, some say not. It'll also be totally on how they understand the electrics, right, and the acoustics of how these things work.
Yeah.
Now,
it's amazing we can do it.
Yeah, Baruch Hashem, at least that much. Yeah. Right, the post can have a machlokas on whether and how about the brachas, right? By the brachas, the minhag is that we all stand. Out of kavod tzibur, the shef tzibur stands, and the kila stands also, and we sit down, and then we listen to the Baal Kuri bimotzi, all of us. Out of kavod tzibur, he's supposed to stand also. The tzibur could be mochel the kavod of the Baal Kuri if he's a very chashuv individual, but he just can't stand. He's old or whatever it is. They're able to be mochel on their kavod, and he can also sit down, and there's still no problem. Right? Most people stand, and so, he was able to do that.
Either old or ill.
Yeah, old or ill. Right? I know at the end of his life also, Rabbi Yosef also always used to read the Megillah in his house. He used to stand. He used to sit, right? And everyone was, I guess, was just mochel and let him sit.
I think this hearing thing is a bigger problem, especially now you have more.
More people do it.
They really should not be listening with hearing aids. And the person reading it's got to do a lot. I have a problem.
Right.
Okay, I'm getting older too.
Right.
But I have a problem hearing the usual.
You have to sit closer to the source.
But I'm
to the source.
Elderly people who normally use hearing aids.
So if a person was sitting in a place, right, according to the other opinions that we saw, people were sitting in a place where they'd be able to hear anyway, but they hear better with the hearing aid, it'll be much better. Right? Then it'll be even lechatchila according to the majority, right? If they can't hear all together, if not, so then they have to ask Shaila, see exactly the different studies of how that works.
Huge issue in our shul.
Yeah, it'd be hard in a larger space.
So then that also comes back to why people want to use the microphone, to make sure everyone...
Make sure, right.
We have a mitzvah of matanas le'avyonim. Mitzvah of matanas le'avyonim is two presents to two, right? One present to two different. Is two to
money.
Two people.
Money.
It's money. It's two presents of money. It could be food also, really, but the minhag is we give money. Right? Anything that can be used on Purim, two gifts to two different aniyim. Mr. Brewer brings down that the shear is very, very unclear. Some so it's just a pruta. Some say it's a shear of a suda that can buy 3 gimel beitzim, right? A falafel sandwich, and some falafel balls to cut it. Some say $10, some say $7. Some say a different shear. There's not a real clear shear in the poskim, but one may not use melos meiser. But he could use meiser money if he gives much more than the allotted amount. And I would say the allotted amount is probably somewhere, for matas avyonim, probably somewhere between $7 and $10, probably. According to the machmirim even. That being the case, if someone wants to give $50...
Per ani, you saying?
I'm saying for matas avyonim.
Per ani?
Yeah, per ani, yeah.
About $10.
Yeah, that's even according to the machmirim.
So it's $20 total.
Something like that. But let's say a guy wants to give $50, extra money that he adds on to it.
Canadian. But the issue of Maser money, I mean, Maser money, you already have a mitzvah. So how can you combine them?
Oh, so that's the point. In other words, meiser money can never be something that's a chiyuv. Whenever there's an obligation on oneself, you can't use meiser money. Whenever there's not an obligation, you're giving it on your own accord, then you're allowed to use meiser. So if I give, let's say, $10 and $10, let's say that's how I want to be motzi with the aniyim. So then, if I want to give $100, I can take the other 80 out of meiser. Right? As long as I didn't obligate myself to do it before. If I didn't say, okay, I'm going to give this year $50 of matalas avyonim, and then he says, oh, well, I only have to give 10, maybe now I'll just give 40 for meiser, that you shouldn't do. Because once you've already obligated yourself, you can't use meiser. Before the fact, right? That's already okay. You're allowed to give food or money. The meaning is to give money because it's just easier that way, probably. But anything that's able to be used immediately for the aniyim's use is what's darish for this mitzvah. The getter of an ani is a machlokas amongst the poskim, because it says matalas avyonim. Some poskim want to be medayek that an evyon is worse than an ani. An ani is someone who's poor, that doesn't have enough money to afford all of his needs. An evyon is someone who's completely destitute. Most of the poskim don't go like that. As long as someone is under the threshold of the halachic acceptability of accepting tzedakah, which is 200 zuz, that the Gemara tells us, and which is brought in Hilchos tzedakah. And the Shulchan Aruch says nowadays 200 zuz, so 200 zuz just means you don't have enough money to cover your expenses. Right? If you need X amount of money to live, a normal life, that doesn't mean you need X amount of money to live as a wealthy man. If you don't have X amount of money to live, and you're making less money than what you need, a person has the... Right, it could be everyone's aniyim nowadays. Everyone's joking.
Line of credit.
Yeah, line of credit. Yeah. But that's someone who has the din of an evyon, right? Obviously, we hope the Rabbanim are taking the money, find out that evyonim are actually really evyonim, for atas evyonim. We have the minhag of machzeh shekel, right? We give $50. Some people have the minhag of Lav Svardim. They actually use the value of silver, which is quite more expensive than that, for the half a shekel. In other words, whatever the half a shekel was, its weight in silver, they pay that amount of money, and they don't even give the 3 coins. But whoever has the minhag to do whichever one, they should be machzeh the minhag. Minhag of Ashkenazim usually is not to do that. They're kona the coins with the money they put in. They lift it up and they put it down. And the minhag is we take even for children, even though machzeh shekel was only given for those who are older and not for ladies. The minhag has become to give for children, for ladies, and even if a woman is pregnant, even for the babies who are in the stomach, unborn babies, because it says lechaper al nafshoseichem. It's also as an aspect of kaparatit. We want everyone to be included in that kapara as well. The minhag is to include all of those.
So what's the machzeh shekel now? What is it worth?
What's it worth?
Yeah.
I have to look it up. I don't know.
I think it's supposed to be half the current unit.
Yeah, I'm not sure what silver. I'm not sure what silver is going for. Every year, the Rabbanim Eretz always give out a number. But you can just look it up. You look it up right beforehand to see how much silver is going for. So you pay for the silver.
You're lifting up for every individual, is what you're saying.
Well, if according to those who just pay the weight in silver, pay the whatever it's worth in silver, so they just take however many people are in the family and then they multiply it. That could be usually a lot more than.
How much is a shekel in grams? Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure. I have to look it up. I think it was 9, something like that. I can't remember.
And they just lift it up once, or they lift it up?
No, with the coins or the money?
The coins.
Oh, the coin. Yeah, just one time. You put down the money, and you're kona the coins. You lift it up, and then you give them. Because now they're yours. And when you lift it up, you're making the coins yours, and you're just giving the coins.
Right, but the action of lifting, are you lifting it up for each individual that you're buying for, or just one?
No, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure it makes a difference.
Children till what age? What age do they obligate themselves?
Probably bar mitzvah.
Oh, yeah, from bar mitzvah. You're saying for matas avyonim?
Yeah. No.
Or for machzeh shekel. So you pay for them until they're bar mitzvah, once they're of age and they're obligated themselves.
Okay. So how about matas avyonim?
Same thing. Matas avyonim, a child who's a cotton still is not chayiv. Once he becomes bar mitzvah or bas mitzvah, then the boys and girls are all chayiv to do all these mitzvahs.
So you're not paying $20 for your family. It's $20 for you, $20 for your wife, $20 for each of your children.
Well, they should. But 13-year-old that doesn't have a job yet. He's not making no money.
if they're under 13.
If they're under 13, they're pater. So you don't have to give.
Completely.
Yeah, they don't have to give a tas avyonim for the children. Right. The machzeh shekel we give because again, like we said, it says lechaper al nafshoseichem. But matas avyonim and the mishloach manos, contrary to popular belief of my children also, they are not obligated to give their friends, even though we do it anyway.
So the spot price of silver as of 624 this morning.
Yeah.
In American dollars is $16.60
per gram.
Per I think it's per ounce.
Per ounce. So it goes by grams because that's how much we know. We have it down to the gram.
50 cents a gram.
Okay, there you go.
How much a gram?
About 50 cents.
Oh, I see. You.
There you go. So those who are those Sfardim usually end up. For years, I always pay a lot more money for the Max of the Shekel than did for Matzah of Yom. After that, right? They earned it with the money. They were paying for the Matzah of Yom.
And carrying the sheep's head. What's that?
Yeah.
What's the what did they do to deserve that?
So we only have 2 more minutes. So we'll just get to the Mishloach Manos. At the Mishloach Manos, you give two different foods. And they can be the same bracha, contrary to popular belief, but 2 separate foods to one person. It says matanos le'avyonim ish l'reyehu, right, which is singular. But matanos and l'reyehu is a singular.
So define food, chocolate.
So food means something that's ready to eat. I mean, it's edible immediately. The reasons given, there's 2 reasons that are given that the post can deal with, and it's really all told in these 2 svaras. Right, the svar of the Trumas Hadeshin is that you're there to also be marba the suda, to add to the suda of your friend. The Manos Levi, which is Reb Shlomo Alkovitz, the author of the L'Chadodi, in his sefer Manos Levi, he wrote a sefer on Megillah, and he writes that the reason for Mishloach Manos is because of to be marba reis, to make more friendship. So the poskim have a field day looking for all types of nafkaminas between the 2 svaras. Now, for example, if I drop it by your door, you have no idea who gave it to you. So according to Trumas Hadeshin, I'll be yotze because I made your suda better. But if I drop it by your door without letting you know, without putting my name on it. But according to the Svar who holds that I have to have, that I'm being marba reis, if you don't know who gave it to you, I wasn't marba any reis. Right? No, you didn't know who gave it to you. That's one afkamina between the 2 opinions.
According to the first opinion, you should give Purim, because you don't know if they're going to have a fleishik or a milchik meal.
That's a good point. Well, to be marba the suda doesn't mean they have to eat it at the suda per se. It has to be possible to eat it at the suda. Or the post can bring all these nafkaminas. Let's say you give them a hachshir they don't agree with. You bring a guy a hachshir that he doesn't like. Or you to the mitzvah that way. Well, you're marba reis because you brought him a gift, but you're not marba his suda. You can't eat it. Right? The post can go back and forth with all these with nafkaminas. Lechatchila, one should cover both svaras. It should be something that is enjoyable to that person. Huh? Yeah, you can do that technically. Yes, everyone seems to like that.
So there don't have to be different brachas. Just
no,
different foods.
2 different foods.
Why do people think it's got to be 2 different brachas?
They're mistaken.
Probably because that's the easiest way to remember to do the mitzvah properly. I'm sure some rabbi told him that many years ago, and it was just the easiest way to get the.
Where's the shorts for 2 foods that can be the same bracha?
The Shulchan Aruch says you can be yotze with 2 different types of meat, so it's clear that the brachas can be the same.
Right.
I can have barbecue meat, and I can give you duck sauce meat, and I can be yotze that way.
Wow.
But the Shulchan Aruch does give the example of meat, right? So you see, it should be something a little bit more chashuv, right? The Bir Halacha brings from the Chai Adam that if you're giving to someone who's a little bit wealthy, you shouldn't give him something that's not so chashuv, because otherwise to him it's like nothing. So some of the poskim want to say, aha, we have another nafkamina according to the 2 svaras, because if I give him something a little bit small, so at the end of the day you still came and you came to him, right? And so that was nice. But if that usher would never use that, what you're giving to him as part of his suda, so you weren't marba his suda at all, so maybe you won't be yotze, right? Again, according to that second svara. So again, l'chatchila, a person is giving. Now as we give 1,000,000 of them, you only have to give 1. So the best eight is you make sure one of them has all of these requirements. Everything else, you give all the tchotchkes you want. So you give all the little candies and whatever, right?
For the dentist.
Yeah, for the dentist and the doctors and all the ones you know that you want to make sure you take care of. Then you can give them. But for as long as you get one done properly, right? The Mishnah also brings the sheet of the Binyan Tzion. The Binyan Tzion holds that Mishloach Manos is mashma, has to be done al yidei shliach, right? Because it's more chashav that way. You have a messenger bringing it in from so and so. That's not the minhag to be machmer like that shita. Those who do it, it's a nice thing.
You do mine, I'll do it.
Kids.
That's why you get the car to keep the thing.
Well, is that called chashav? If your child is bringing it to you, that's a chashav. If I ask, like Zealot, for example, if I have you, then that's a very chashav. If I have a person like you to give Mashalach Lanas, then it's already that's already something very, very chashav.
Ron has a question.
Yes, Ron.
What's actually Jeremy's question? So he asked me, he thought that originally you had to give to 2 different people, but according to this, you really have to have 2 different
items to one person.
To one person,
that's
then you're
Yotzi. That's right. From Mishloach Manos, 2 different items to one person.
I told you.
That's why people send their cards now.
Right. It says in the Megillah, Mishloach Manos, right? It's 2. Ish l'reyehu is singular. Right? And Matanos le'evyonim is Matanos le'evyonim. Right? That's how we learn plural. Right? It has to be 2 things to 2 people.
And women are chayav on this too.
Women are also chayav. Now, a man is able to be. So for Matanos le'evyonim, it's important that when you're giving them.
For one of them at least?
Oh, so the Be'er Halacha asks this question. He says, let's say I want to give Mishloach Manos to an ani. I give him something very, very chashuv that's worth a lot of money, and I give it to an ani. Can I be yotzi all of it together? So he says, I in this sefer and that sefer. He doesn't even bring a hachra. He brings it. He's mistapik. If you're able to be, yotzi that way. But one should also have in mind to make sure when he's giving Matanos le'evyonim, have his wife in mind as well, and have a little bit of money extra that she should be yotzi on her behalf too, and Mishloach Manos as well. That your wife also is chayav, because again, afhim hayibos manes doesn't mean only in regards to listening to the Megillah, reading the Megillah. It also is in regards to the mitzvahs hayom.
It's not a little extra. You're saying it has to be double. Like, if it's $10,
yeah, so it'll be 20.
20, so 40.
Right. That's right. And for Mishloach Manos as well, make sure that she also sends one, or you send one for her. In other words, you make sure that she's marking one of them and say, "This, okay, honey, this is for you. I'm going to give it on your behalf." The teachers or whoever.
You should speak it out to have the right kavanah for it.
Yeah, or just as long as she knows and you know. So, if your wife isn't the nervous type, so just make sure you have it. If she's the nervous type, so you can let her know. And just on the last note, Malacha's mutter on Purim, even though it says Yom Tov, it wasn't Yom Tov like Shabbos. However, the minig is that we don't do Malacha. When we say Malacha, we mean strenuous actions. Business, opening a store, Mikra Din is allowed. Now the Aruch HaShulchan brings down that Yorei Shamayim shouldn't spend all day Purim wasting the day at the store. But if a guy's going to have a davra of it, if a guy's going to lose, then for sure there's no question he's allowed to do it. If he's going to do a business deal that will make him a lot of money, that brings a person simcha, and also will be allowed. The malacha that we're saying that's proper to refrain from is strenuous, physical labor like planting trees and whatnot. If it's done for simcha reasons, then even there's a heter for that as well. But a person should make sure that he shouldn't waste a day, a holy day that's like Purim with these type of things.
Don't close the book yet with the
Suda. The Suda. Oh, we can't forget that. Suda is a mitzvah to have a Suda. It's machlokus. If you have to have bread or not, the minig is that we have bread as well. Could be just having meat. But you're supposed to have as nice as food as one is able to afford. Meat and whatnot should be served by the Suda. If a person doesn't like bread, he's not chayav to have bread. If he doesn't like it. But the minig is that we try to have bread. The mitzvah of getting drunk, of drinking, is a mitzvah, is meduyik in the Rambam and the Shulchan Aruch. It's during the Suda, not before or after. It should really be during the Suda is the best time to do it. Then there's more of an Indian to do it through wine, because that's what was done in the Megillah was done through wine. Though many poskim also allow other types of hard schnapps or whatever it is.
Specifically meat you're supposed to eat at the end?
If you enjoy it, things that you enjoy. In other words, the assumption is that people enjoy meat and chicken and these types of finer foods. If a guy really doesn't like it and he enjoys very, very fine milchets, then he should eat what he enjoys. He should eat what he enjoys.
What time do you want to set your house?
I was going to say.
If you're bringing the meat, you can come whenever you want.